The Turkey Hill Truck Series continues on its 2022 campaign as we head a couple hundred miles further south in the state of Georgia, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, a newly reconfigured track, and these 36 truck drivers ready to take 33 laps in the Lilly Trucking 200 here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, season number 8. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia, for the Lilly Trucking 233 laps of action around this 1.54 mile speedway. Only this time around, it's a little different than what it was the last time we came here for this race. The newly reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway, a higher banking in the corners, and a little bit narrower groove on the racetrack, but the racing should still be excellent. However, it's not going to be at all what you see in real life at this racetrack because we don't put restrictor plates on these guys, or we don't restrict the engines. I don't know. Do they even do restrictor plates in real life anymore? Who knows? But still, we don't restrict the engines. These guys go flat out here, and it's definitely going to be a very interesting race, and those ratings are really going to come into play here today. And I think we're definitely going to see who's going to be a strong driver this season here in this race. Joined alongside Josh Williamson for the call of this Lilly Trucking 200. And Josh, kind of the first time for a lot of these guys on this newly reconfigured racetrack. What do you expect for a lot of these guys here, knowing that this is a place they really haven't been to yet?
Well, it's certainly going to be different than the Atlanta we knew from years past because, well, even though, they restricted the engines in real life, we're not restricting the engines, obviously. So it's not going to be a pack race, for one thing. 2, the ratings are going to be different. 3, the track is still fairly abrasive, even with the new surface, so tire wear is going to come in tremendously today. So 28-degree banking in a narrower corner as well. I don't know how much that is going to be different as opposed to the old 24 and the wider. I know that they're not really going to be able to go like 3 and 4 wide as much anymore, but it is certainly going to be up to the drivers today to keep control of their race trucks, and it is going to be what should be a very, very interesting race. I think strategy is going to play a lot into this too, especially if it does go caution free, because again, ratings being different and everybody hopefully maybe spreading out as this race goes on. It is certainly going to be something that we haven't seen before, and I am looking forward to getting into it.
Absolutely, and about a 20 to 22 lap fuel run for these guys here today in this 33 lap event, so we shouldn't be cutting it close like we did last week at Darlington, and hopefully we will not run into a caution during that cycle of green flag pit stops. Assuming that the cycle is green flag, we could easily see a wreck in today's race, especially early on, because this first few laps will be a bit of a pack race, but then it will eventually spread out as the tire wear becomes a little more extreme on these machines. In the points standings coming into this third race of the season, Noah Clifton, who starts in the 6th position here today, has the points lead, 70 points towards the championship for him. Just ahead of him on the racetrack to start off is Ethan Lewis. He's only 4 points behind. Nathan Stapleton, Eric Drew are both 9 points behind, and then Tanner Parton is 12 points behind coming into the third race of the season. Still 16 races left to go until we crown a champion on Christmas Day at the Homestead Miami Speedway. But starting on the pole for today's event is the number 75 of Sebastian Kukulon. Grabbed the fastest time in qualifying yesterday. Alongside him is our last winner here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series in Ryan Kinghart. Row number 2, great start for Allison Rain to the inside of Ethan Lewis. And you got Chris Tejada and our points leader, Noah Clifton, in row number 3. Evan Carlson starts to the inside of Igor Barreto. And in last week's pole sitter, Memphis Fisher to the inside of Laura Chung in row number 5. We'll take a look and make sure everybody else is rolling off just fine. And it looks like all 36 drivers are good to go here in the Lilly Trucking 200. Josh, a strong 36 driver field. Who do you think is going to get the race victory here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway?
To be honest with you, I kind of like where the 15 of Chris Tejada is starting for this race. Starting there in that 5th position on the bottom side. I think it's going to be the fastest lane to start off this race. We'll have to see how the rest of the race goes, obviously, but I think at least the way they line up, Chris Tejada's got the best shot to get up to the front and maybe hold on to this race victory in the Lilly Trucking 200.
We'll just have to see what he can do there, starting from the 5th position. But starting on the pole, it's Sebastian Kukulon in the number 75. The pace truck is off, and we are underway from the Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Lilly Trucking 200. Coming off at turn number 4 for the first time today. Top 3 single file out, but then back in here, it's a little crazy. Got Joey Hightower there, the inside, I should say, of Josh Williamson. I think Hightower might have a problem. He really checked up in the middle of the corner there and split the pack up just a little bit. You got Brad Stover and Shane Lake right behind him. And he may have just had to check up to avoid running into Williamson there through the corner. A very interesting moment right there, but Kukulon remains out front. He's got 2 laps led and a bonus point for leading a lap here in this Lilly Trucking 200.
Certainly did seem like that was the case for Hightower. He just completely let off the gas in the middle of the corner, and now he's slipping up to the outside. You see Stover's getting down underneath him, headed down that back straightaway, bringing the Daytona winner Shane Lake with him on that inside lane into the 3rd and 4th corner. And we'll see what it looks like as they head off into the quad oval once again. It is still Sebastian Kukulon leading the way, but here comes the 20 of Allison Rain right to the inside of the 98 of Ryan Kinghart.
And Ryan Kinghart, our last winner here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, grabbed that race victory at Darlington, a very well-earned win, but they did have a little help with that caution late in the going. Laura Chung to the inside. And the ladies doing an excellent job here. Both top 5 right now here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And there's your pick to win, Chris Tejada up here as well. Good to see Igor Barreto, Memphis Fisher. Owen Miles had a strong run at Darlington last week, but kind of had some issues later on. It kept them from getting the race victory. Ethan Lewis there fell back after he started in the 4th position. Looking to the inside there of Evan Carlson, and Noah Clifton fell back as well. That outside lane did not get going on the start there. Clifton down 11th after he started in the 6th position, and Lewis down in 10th after he started in the 4th position. But Sebastian Kukulon, Pied Piper here at Atlanta, but Laura Chung looking very sporty in the 61. She moves to the inside of Kinghart for 2nd. Here comes Tejada looking to take a position away as well.
Tejada into that 4th position, now looking for the 3rd position, and in behind there, that's the 91 of Igor Barreto. They're running in the 5th position, leading a short little freight train of trucks behind the 32 of Memphis Fisher, the 20 of Allison Rain a little further behind. Meanwhile, they dive down in the dogleg into turn number 1, the 15 of Tejada down to the inside of the 98 Kinghart. Kinghart trying to work that outside. I said it in qualifying, I figured starting double file, maybe they'd have a better shot of working the outside lane in the race than in qualifying because they start double file. Now Tejada gets shuffled to the outside. Igor Barreto down inside. We'll see. Kinghart worked that high side through 1 and 2 the last time through. We'll see if Tejada can duplicate that this time around.
We'll have to see. The outside lane has worked out fairly well, and I think as the tires wear out here in this run, that outside lane will work even better, but it's going to be a quick race if they keep this pace up. Already lap 8 of 33, a very short race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for these guys, so these guys know they have to get going right away, or otherwise they might not have an opportunity at race victory. But you got to think, that cycle of pit stops going to be coming here in about 12 laps. Lap 20 to 22, these guys will be coming down the pit lane, and that will definitely be a major factor on the who gets the race victory. But Kukulon has led every lap so far here at Atlanta. Looking a little difficult to pass him out there, but Laura Chung in the 61, she had a great run at Darlington last week. She had a great run at Daytona. She has been very strong in this season so far in her first 2 starts. She may get it done here today at Atlanta, and Ryan Kinghart looking to go back-to-back in that 98 machine. Barreto and Fisher up there fairly well. We'll take a look through the rest of the field right here. Ethan Lewis and Noah Clifton have moved themselves inside the top 10. Shane Lake trying to move his way through the field here, the Daytona winner. Nathan Stapleton was one of those guys who almost won at Darlington last week. He's kind of midway through the field right now, and we'll go through the rest of the field here. And not a lot of movement from the back to the front in this race. I mean, they kind of instantly spread out. I thought we were going to see a little bit more of a pack as this race went along, and that really did happen. Hightower kind of checking up there early on, really split these guys up, and because of that, you're seeing what you're seeing right now. Memphis Fisher on Barretto for the 4th position.
And he's working that inside line well, coming around turn number 2. Stover there wide out of 2 on the outside of Noah Clifton, the 24, a little further back, as these two are still side by side for that, I believe it's the 4th position on the racetrack right now, but it looks like the 91 of Barretto going to have the advantage, but 32, Memphis Fisher not going to let him get away. Oh, what a dive into turn number 1. Almost got to the back quarter of that 91, but stays 5th in line as Kukulon, Chung, and Kinghart have pulled away.
They definitely have. These top 3 are very quick right now. Tejada and Miles still holding on strong. Allison Rain holding her ground in 8th after starting on the outside pole. Here comes Brad Stover, moving up to the field fairly well. He got around Noah Clifton. He's got a run to the inside of Ethan Lewis here for the 9th position. But Lewis going to work that outside lane to his advantage, and that's really where you want to be right now. These guys still side by side, Barretto and Fisher. The thing is, they're losing time to the top 3. Top 3 have kind of stayed in their single file line here, and it doesn't look like they're going to be going anywhere before the cycle of pit stops, but these two guys battling for that 4th position. They're going to lose some time to those top 3 if that keeps up, and Barretto's going to try for the crossover on Fisher right here. Fisher way up, though, and now that those tires are starting to wear out, that outside lane is where you're going to get that grip, and you saw that right there with Memphis Fisher. Here comes Chris Tejada on the outside of Miles. Chris Miles was already behind the 15 machine, but all these guys trying to get around each other. Clifton got back around Brad Stover. And you got Owen Miles and Allison Rain trying to get around Chris Tejada, but everyone kind of stuck in their respective positions. So I said it wouldn't be like a super speedway race, but in a way, there are some characteristics going on right here. And Kukulon has led every lap so far here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Didn't quite expect that, but Kukulon definitely varies fast on these mile-and-a-half racetracks this season, I believe. We're going to see a lot out of Kukulon this season, and that's 75.
He's doing well to, I think he's gonna actually end up leading the most laps as a result because of how far ahead he is. We're just about to that halfway point of the Lilly Trucking 200, and here in just a handful of laps we will see that pit cycle happen, but Kukulon now to about a half-second advantage over Laura Chung of the 61, who's staying close enough where Kukulon, if he messes up on the pit exit or his pit crew messes up when the pit stop happens, Chung might have a big opportunity to pounce on that 75 and maybe steal a win away, as Kinghart with a big dive into turn number 1, closing in on the backside of that 61 one more time.
Yeah, but still not close enough to really make anything work. I think another big factor at the moment is the tire wear is incredibly significant right now, and with that, you're seeing these guys kind of stay in their respective positions, but we do have some 3-wide action going on here. Stapleton and the 17 of Thomas Troxel moving up on that inside lane. They're getting around Noah Clifton, Shane Lake, and then Ethan Lewis was 3-wide on the outside there. And some of these guys, they saved up their tires much better than others. You got Casey Nanico here as well in this big pack, and got a pretty big pack back in here, about 3.5 seconds off the race lead. Kinghart may actually have a shot on Chung before the cycle begins here, and in just a couple of laps, these guys will be coming down the pit lane. They're going to have to be careful not to get into each other on the pit lane here, but we'll just have to see how it goes down. It helps these guys are spread out the way they are, so hopefully we will not have any issues. These guys trying to come down the pit lane here. Laura Chung on the outside lane, but there's a lot of grip up there, so you get shot up there, and you're going to find that grip, though that makes it a little hard to make the pass at the moment. All these guys closing in on Igor Barretto, though. Barretto has lost a lot of time to Memphis Fisher, who has gained up on the top 3. There's a big gap there between 4th and 5th.
And Memphis Fisher has been closing in on the 2 trucks in front of him because they've been kind of going at it here for the last few laps. Kinghart now trying to make another move on Chung. Didn't make the move soon enough to have a shot, but Kukulon is pulled away to an almost 9/10 of a second lead ahead of second place Laura Chung, as we may be getting ready to see the pit cycle start within the next couple laps. We'll see if Kukulon comes out with Chung will.
Chung, and this is a huge moment right here, and we saw a lot of this at Darlington, and we would have seen this played out if the caution did not come out during the cycle last week, but I think Laura Chung, Owen Miles, they're in a really good position right now. Hopefully this stays green. Looks like Will Parrish might have had an issue trying to come down the pit lane, but we do remain green here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. There's Sebastian Kukulon, though. He's going to lose a little bit of time there to Laura Chung, and it's possible that Chung could end up getting the advantage here once the cycle is complete. Kukulon's going to come down. Ryan Kinghart, Memphis Fisher is down. Troxel's going to stay out. And Troxel will become the first driver not named Sebastian Kukulon to lead a lap in this race. So bonus point there for Troxel. These guys coming off right now, and then the guys who just came down are coming down right now with Kukulon and Kinghart and Fisher. Caleb Rose is there as well. I think Caleb Rose actually came in with the first group. He was deep in the field to start this race. Brian Webb getting out there pretty quick. It looks like a two-tire stop for Webb, possibly. Either that or he was deep in the field and just got off there. There comes Troxel, Stapleton, both of those guys. They actually found a lot of speed at the end of that run right there, so we'll have to see if they gain any sort of an advantage, if they can get into their pit stalls, because Thomas Troxel's kind of blocked in right here with Will Parrish, and that's going to slow him up a little bit. And Stapleton's going to come down as well. Laura Chung coming back around, and that number 61 is well out ahead of the 75 of Sebastian Kukulon, and I mean well out ahead. That was a good call.
I wonder if something happened to that 75, though. But that is a great call by the 61 to come down first. The undercut is what usually works the best on these mile-and-a-half tracks, particularly Atlanta. But goodness gracious, if something didn't go wrong on the 75 during that pit stop, I would be shocked.
Well, the thing is, everyone else he came down with is behind him. That 61 just gained that much time coming in a lap earlier, and I think the same can be said for Owen Miles. His tires are warmed up at the moment, and he gained a lot of ground as well. It's going to cycle through here in a tough break for Troxel. That's a hard one. He has not come off the pit lane, and it looks like he is going to stay there the rest of the day. Hey, 10 laps to go in this Lilly Trucking 200. 4-second lead for Laura Chung in the 61.
Goodness gracious.
But did she go two tires? It's possible she could have pulled a strategy play, and that could definitely affect her, especially these four guys are all on each other right here. And with the draft, they might be, well, they haven't gained any time, and that's a good sign for Laura Chung here in these final few laps. Brian Webb a lap down in the 1, and the 3 of Shane Lake has just come in, and I think he blew an engine.
Yes, he did.
Tough break for our Daytona winner. I was going down the leaderboard there, and I saw a number that did not line up with the rest, and that usually indicates an issue. And then Igor Barreto also just blew up. That's 2 in 1 lap.
What in the world?
These guys are revving these engines up very, very high, and that might just be an issue for some of these guys in this race. You got to think, engine is also one of the ratings, so some of these guys have better engines than others, and that could be coming into effect here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But either way, Laura Chung looking to get her first career win on the channel. Igor Barreto will not be getting a win here today. Memphis Fisher, 3.69 seconds behind the 61. He's going to have to go faster than that if he's going to close in on our race leader.
You know, Atlanta's a track that has been, historically, it's been fairly rough on engines. And, well, we've seen that happen here. Well, we've seen that happen for trucks that necessarily weren't running up at the front. But now as we have, let's see, 5 laps to go that time through? I believe, no, 6 laps to go. Yeah. 3.4 the gap back to the 75 of Kukulon. And if he's going to have a chance to catch that 61 at this point, he'd need a miracle.
Absolutely. It's going to be a bit of a stretch. But the tire wear is also going to come into effect as well. Kukulon, Fisher, and Kinghart all have 1 lap fresher tires, and that's going to make a difference late in the run. But with 5 to go, you're not going to get there on 0.2 a lap.
Too little, too late, I believe, for the 75 and everybody else. That is second on back, Laura Chung, with perhaps the call of the season so far as pit stops
in
go.
This young
now
season.
4 laps to go. Yeah, so far anyways. But with 4 laps to go now, Kukulon will be within 2.91 seconds, but again, like you said, 2 or 3 tenths a lap. Yeah, you'd need to be closing in a lot quicker than that. Although Troxel's just coming out of the pits, this could hold that 61 up a little bit. We'll have to see what happens.
And Troxel finally coming back out into the racetrack, going to try to gain a couple points on Barretto and Shane Lake, who are out of the race now. He's 5 laps down at the moment. And Laura Chung is going to get held up just a tad by Troxel. But she doesn't need to race it hard with Troxel either, because 2.6 seconds with 2.5 laps to go is still a long ways. And she may just want to go right ahead and file along behind Troxel. You got to think Troxel's going to have fresher tires here as well, so that's also going to play a factor. And Laura Chung, she almost, she was in contention for the win at Darlington last week. She could have definitely pulled it off there, but had her issue and had too many scrapes on that outside wall, stayed on the pit lane too long, but she's definitely showing her stuff here today. I think Kukulon is going to be a great driver this season. Memphis Fisher, Ryan Kingart, Owen Miles, all those guys were up front at some point at Darlington last week, and here they are running very strong here at Atlanta. White flag in the air, though, for Laura Chung in the Lilly Trucking 200. 1 lap to go. 2.1 seconds. It's probably going to go under 2 seconds here, but thankfully, this is the last lap for Laura Chung, and I don't think she's going to have to worry about Kukulon catching up to her on this final lap.
If Kukulon was going to catch up, he needed a caution about 4 or 5 laps to go, and he is out of time.
Laura Chung, only her 3rd career start on the channel. She's going to grab the race victory in the 3rd race of the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Laura Chung wins the Lilly Trucking 200 from Atlanta. Sebastian Kukulon started on the pole. Just couldn't quite get it. Memphis Fisher, Ryan Kinghart backing up that race victory last week with a 4th place finish. And then Owen Miles, Brad Stover, Juan Rodriguez, Derek Hamill, Joey Hightower, and Eric Drew. The top 10. Points leader Noah Clifton down in 11th. But a caution-free race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Very interesting race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, but we got it done in time for Alabama, Texas. Let's put it. That's all I care about. Laura Chung wins here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sebastian Kukulon, Memphis Fisher, Ryan Kingart, Owen Miles, Brad Stover, Juan Rodriguez, Derek Hamill, Joey Hightower, Eric Drew, Clifton and Winkle there, 11th and 12th, and you take a look at the rest of the results right there. Really tough break for guys like Barretto and Shane Lake. They were kind of up front. Thomas Troxel was running up front there. He actually led a lap. And Brian Webb ended up a lap down after that cycle there. But that was a unique race, and yeah, I don't know how else to describe that. Only 3 different leaders, and really the only passes were on the pit lane, so not much going on the racetrack. But a lot of that could have to do with the ratings in play, and I think Kukulon and Chung were the 2 fastest trucks on the track. If this was a 38-lap race, I think Kukulon would have won, but only 33 laps here today, and Laura Chung the beneficiary of that one. Next week, we haven't done a race at this track since April of 2020. I know it's been a long time, but I'm looking forward to it. Next week, we head to Bristol. It's been forever since we've done a race there. The Rocky Ridge Trucks 200, that's another short one, only 50 laps there, so it's going to fly right by as well. First short track of the season for these guys as well, so we might see some new faces up front. How do you think the rest of the season is going to play out? Because we're going to have a lot of these speedway-like tracks, and you see those guys who ran well here today, they might very well be the beneficiaries in this championship fight.
It is certainly going to be interesting the rest of this season here. But I don't think, well, given the fact that we are going to a short track next week, I don't entirely expect to see the drivers running up front then that we saw today. So that is going to be interesting. It might jumble the points around a little bit. We'll have to see how that goes. But goodness gracious, it was dominated by Kugel. It looked like everyone was just kind of cruising around there for a little bit, which I don't blame them. Get to the pit cycle, but then after that, Chung just pulled right ahead with a brilliant pit strategy. And the rest of this season, I would not be surprised if that 61 didn't get a win or two more, and maybe even go up and challenge Clifton for this championship as the season goes on.
We're just going to have to see who the new points leader is. I think it's still going to be Clifton. I don't think anyone else really gained enough on him, but we're just getting started. 15 races left to go before we crown a champion, and once we get to that middle part of the season, we're really going to start seeing who's going to be strong and who's not going to be strong here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series season of 8. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to go watch the Alabama-Texas game. I'm going to watch Alabama win, and we will see you guys on Friday for the Rocky Ridge Trucks 200. That's going to be the next race here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series season number 8. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Laura Chung on her first career win. And here are the points for the Turkey Hill Truck Series after 3 races. On behalf of Josh Williamson, I will see you guys later.